When we walked in, I didn't see Mama anywhere. To my surprise, I saw Oda sitting at the counter, tragically, but she probably told him to come there.
Tessa!
Oh, Ota.
I was nihiling with Tessa earlier. She said she was going to Marvel.
I thought so.
I got here just before you did. Look, I was really worried about her. She was about to be charged with a serious crime.
She might yet.
No, this is my new one. You're thinking of the one I dropped in that puddle. Oh, she left a little while ago. She said something about going to help an acquaintance. She told me to watch the place until she got back.
How well do you know Mama?
Not at all. It's my first time here.
I wasn't particularly surprised. Mama's always depended on the kindness of strangers, ever since she opened Marble.
This actually works out nicely. I want to ask you something, Ota. It's about a Nile message you sent Iris. You said you wouldn't tell anyone about that thing. That you'd stay quiet no matter what. What were you talking about?
Well,
I'll tell her about the two-witter thing. I swear I'll do it.
geez, fine. Just don't tell anyone else, okay?
Promise.
But before I tell you, who's that?
What?
At the door. Someone's standing outside.
Oh. On the one hand, got him, but on the second hand, I definitely wasn't expecting him to do that. Well, that's not suspicious at all, is it? When I woke up, I was lying on the sofa.
Where am I?
My head was killing me and my memory was foggy. I felt a sudden pain in my neck. I shot up, rubbing my neck. When I looked over the counter, I saw a monster staring back at me. Okay. Took a few seconds before I realized it was just Mama. I don't like this. I don't like the way we talk about this character. I don't like the way that this character is presented in combination with how we talk about this character.
Looks like you're awake now.
In that, they kind of give the impression of being trans, and when we call them a monster. You know? As Mama spoke to me, it all came rushing back. I remembered everything.
Ota, the boy I asked to watch the bar?
Controller.
I'd say he's too old to be called a boy, but yeah.
He was already gone when I came back.
Naturally.
All I saw was you getting your beauty sleep on the floor.
Damn it, Ota. What are you thinking?
It appears that he took off with Iris.
What were you doing during all this?
My power was shut down due to the stun gun. I have rebooted in safe mode and am now operational.
It'll be 3 o'clock soon. In the morning, of course. I tried. You wouldn't budge. I thought you were passed out drunk, so I left you like that.
But I didn't have a glass in front of me, right?
So you weren't drunk?
Didn't have a single drop.
Oh, I thought you were drinking straight out of the bottle. Just like the old days.
A complete animal.
Date, the boss is calling.
Oh, how am I gonna report this one?
Date, listen. Stay calm, but this is an emergency. Just now, the killer... Well, just watch the video. I sent the address to Iba.
Ah!
Iris.
So...
No, that's...
The criminal is streaming this live.
Iva, the source.
Identified. The Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse, Koto District.
Easy.
Okiura?
Date, focus. We need to get to the site, now.
We got some banger music going. Let's do it.
What's our ETA?
Our destination is far from here. 20 minutes at the fastest.
Please, please let me make it in time. That sick bastard.
Oh my god.
Tessa! Hold on! I'll save you!
Ota!
Stay away from Tessa! Ah!
This is all happening off camera. That's suspicious. Get my phone on the go. Now, granted, that would be a quick costume change unless this isn't actually a live video. I could feel the sweat on my palms. The engine raced a high-pitched scream, but I could barely hear it. My heartbeat was pounding in my ears, shaking me to the core. How much time had passed? Why aren't the police doing anything? The feeling of time itself had disappeared. Eventually, the car reached a long bridge. Shortly after, the image changed.
No, it can't be. No. Stop! No!
Oh god.
No!
So, like, if I took the other path in Somnium, would this not have happened? Not what I expected to see. Mm-hmm. That's what I kind of thought. Although that kind of complicates things. Because what I thought was happening there was that it was all Ota, and it was not a live video. And it was arranged so that it would make Ota look innocent. But now Ota's dead as well. But he was in the bear suit, so that could possibly be true, and he got killed by someone else.
There you are. Finally. I was looking all over for you. It's rare to see you down like this. But it's understandable. You blame yourself for this, don't you? Beating yourself up about taking Iris to Marble, and about letting Ota get the upper hand on you.
Well, I am in fact literally sitting here thinking, would she have lived if I did the other branch in Somnium?
Am I right? Shall I tell you what Investigation HQ thinks? Ota Matsushita is a criminal stalker who committed murder-suicide.
This, is a reasonable conclusion, I feel.
Ota had a selfish love for Iris. He was under the delusion that Iris loved him too. But Iris refused Ota. So Ota decided that he and Iris should be together in the afterlife. Killed her, then killed himself.
This is a reasonable conclusion, but I feel like it's probably not the case, given that you're pointing this out to me right now.
That's ridiculous. Ota would never kill Iris.
I don't know about that. I don't actually doubt for a second he's capable of doing that. I doubt him killing himself.
And how do you explain the other two murders? Iris's left eye was hollowed out. Just like Renju and Shoko. Those 3 murders were definitely executed by the same person. The new Cyclops killer. There's no way that's Ota. Too many pieces don't fit. Too many contradictions, like killing Iris.
I don't think that's a contradiction.
Such as?
Stay away from Tessa!
Ota showed himself on the stream. If he was gonna kill Iris and then himself, why would he do that? The only reason you would show yourself like that is to prove that you weren't the culprit.
Exactly.
Ota and the polar bear on the screen at the same time would prove that they're not the same person. That behavior would be totally unnecessary if he was going to commit suicide anyway.
Well, maybe he wasn't planning on dying at first. After he killed Iris, he realized that he couldn't live with himself.
No chance.
So he lies down on the workbench and turns on the ice cutting machine himself? I don't buy it.
Maybe he was thinking like this. The reason Iris and I can't be together is because her agency prohibits it. Making the president, Renju, the ultimate bad guy in his mind.
Mizuki is Ota's close friend. Do you really think Ota would kill his friend's father?
Again, I wouldn't actually be surprised.
Shoko was married to Renju. Maybe he was trying to get at Renju by killing her.
That's a stretch. They've been divorced for years.
That is a stretch.
Ota knows all about it. He wouldn't use Shoko to get to Renju. The culprit was wearing a polar bear costume, probably to hide their identity. But if murder-suicide was the plan, the costume served no purpose.
There are some additional discrepancies. I analyzed the investigation report. Judging by his wound, Ota was stabbed in the side by a kitchen knife or something similar.
Are you sure?
I am.
I told the boss what Iba found.
Oh, I know that.
Well?
Ota could have stabbed himself.
What? Why? Why would he do that?
Maybe he thought it would be a fatal wound, but when it didn't work, he went for the ice cutting machine.
What kind of train of thought was this? Oh, I'm gonna stab myself in the side. What the fuck? That didn't kill me. Better get in the fucking ice cutting machine. Come on.
Then, shouldn't we have recovered the kitchen knife from the scene?
Also, it's just absurd on the face of it.
Maybe he threw it in the ocean.
Oh, yeah, obviously. This is a perfectly reasonable series of events.
Boss, come on.
Yes, exactly.
Ota goes out to the water, stabs himself in the gut, throws the knife over the side, then walks back to the warehouse?
Ridiculous. Absurd.
Well, I wasn't being serious.
Please, you're just a fucking moron.
I didn't think Ota was the culprit from the beginning. I was just playing devil's advocate for HQ.
Yeah, I thought of all that.
Really?
Yes, really.
You're the one who doesn't see any kind of connection to the old serial killings. I don't know.
Anyway, Ota didn't kill anyone, and he didn't kill himself. Here's what I think happened.
Stay away from Tessa!
Ota knew Iris was kidnapped, so he rushed onto the scene. That's when he saw the culprit wearing the polar bear costume. He tried to fight him off, but ended up being stabbed in the side. He was weakened and losing blood at the culprit's mercy. The culprit forced him into the costume, then under the ice-cutting machine. And then...
I don't know. It just looks so much like Ota was trying to make himself look innocent, since we never saw them on screen at the same time. Like, it really gives the vibe to me that Ota was doing this, but then somebody else was there. Like, Ota was doing this to set himself up as being innocent, but then ended up getting murdered, you know? The polar bear costume and not seeing them both at the same time just seems so weird. Like, what a weird pantomime of events, right? Polar bear comes in, turns it on, walks away. Ota walks in, turns it off, walks away. Something happens. Polar bear comes back, turns it on, and just kills her that time without, like, why did the polar bear even walk away the first time, right? You know? Because obviously he just had to stand there for like 5 extra seconds and it would have killed her. Why did he walk off? The first polar bear sighting has to have been Ota in the suit.
Then, who is the culprit?
Good question. I feel like all our suspects are dead.
I wish I knew.
We're up to 4 victims. But Ota was a special circumstance. He wasn't specifically targeted by the culprit.
Right. And he was the only one to not have his eye pulled out.
So let's focus on the 3 other victims. Shoko, Renju, and Iris. What connects these 3?
Well, Renju kind of... No, I was gonna say Renju's like links them all together, which is true, but it doesn't make sense.
Connections.
I'm trying to run this through in my head. Shoko was the Mafia. Renju, we couldn't figure out if he was connected at all. Not the Mafia, the Yakuza, a different organization. Do we know another connection right now?
If you find a connection between the victims, you find a connection to the culprit. That's the theory of investigation, right?
Not necessarily. Like, there are a lot of serial killers where there's no, like, link between the victims, other than that they all share some kind of, like, similarity. But they're not usually all, like, actually connected to each other. But these are all different types of victims, so there is probably a connection, yes.
You think the new Cyclops killer is related to them somehow?
Maybe not. That is a good starting point.
Kind of has to be. The 3 victims are so different from each other, right? Like, middle-aged woman, middle-aged man, teenage girl. They share, like, no physical characteristics. So it has to be something beyond that. Because this is the thing with serial killers, is they always kill the same type of person. These 3 people are so different, there must be just some kind of link between them.
Mizuki has the strongest connections with all 3 victims.
True.
Shoko and Renju were her parents, and she was close friends with Iris. She was good friends with Ota, too. But that's why I could never believe Mizuki would kill all 4 of them.
She's also 12.
Thinking of her as a suspect is ridiculous.
I don't think it's her, no. But, like, she might have some link. We should probably be concerned about Mizuki, actually, now that I think about it.
Mayumi had motive for killing Iris and Renju. Mayumi hated Iris, and she didn't think well of Lemniscate either. And since Renju is the president... Anyway, the weak point is Renju's ex-wife, Shoko. I can't imagine why Mayumi would kill her.
Can't really see why she'd kill the son either.
And above all else, she would never harm her only son, let alone kill
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
Hitomi and Renju are definitely linked. They were high school classmates, and she did say that she met Shoko twice. But I can't imagine she would kill Iris in such a gruesome way. No matter what the circumstances were, it seems impossible to me.
I don't have a strong opinion about that one.
Renju and Shoko were connected to the
No,
Kumakuras.
yeah. Was Renju? I don't... How was Renju connected to them? I remember... I'm trying to keep all these facts in my head, okay? I don't remember what the connection was we found with Renju.
But there's no connection to Iris.
Well, the thing is, though, if you're connected to Renju, you're kind of implicitly connected to Iris as well, since she was an employee at his agency.
Renju, Shoko, and So. There is a connection between Renju and Shoko through the Kumakuras. But again, I can't see any clear link to Iris. I know Renju and Shoko, and I'm connected to Iris, but I have an alibi. Aside from Shoko, there's no way I could have killed any of them. No, now that I think about it, Shoko too. I don't remember killing her.
I mean, okay, it's weird how he had to talk himself into that.
My memories from 6 years ago are missing, but I still have my memory of recent
It's
events.
kind of weird that he had to talk himself out of thinking he was the murderer.
If I start doubting myself now...
Date, I can say without a doubt that there is zero possibility you are the
Yeah,
new
I
Cyclops killer.
think you're the old one, but I don't think you're the new one.
I have been working with you for years. I know better than anyone that you are innocent.
You'd also have seen.
I thought it over, boss. Of the people I know, I can't peg any of them as the murderer.
And no leads to pursue?
No.
Then there's only one thing you can do. Continue your investigation. Do whatever it takes to get the culprit.
But how?
To get justice for the victims.
Where do we go from here, exactly? Can we examine the scene of the crime for once?
You're right. Got it, boss.
Could we maybe for once examine the scene of the crime? Oh great, yes, let's go. I stepped into the cold storage warehouse. The air conditioning wasn't running, but it was still cold. The temperature hadn't raised much at all. The cold air sunk into my skin, but the center of my body was burning hot. Right, box. Cardboard box, nothing in it. Disappointing.
A video camera and laptop. This is what the criminal used to stream. All of these items have been bought from pawn shops and thrift stores. It would be difficult to determine a suspect from them. I have logged into the Wi-Fi in this warehouse. Okiura Fishery Co., Ltd. is listed as the owner. However, I found the password written directly on the router. Anyone who saw it could have used it. I have done some research.
Out of curiosity, though, does that company link to anyone we know?
As the name suggests, the company is owned by the Okiuras. The same Okiuras we know.
Okay.
Renju's father created the company.
Another connection to Renju.
No, actually. Currently, Okiura Fishery has nothing to do with Renju. The company has been managed by office representatives for the past 17 years after Renju's father died.
Oh, really?
Renju holds no shares and is not involved in
Oh.
the management.
Never mind, I guess.
In short, Renju did not inherit the company from his father, and it was instead given to other persons.
That's weird, but okay.
But it can't be a coincidence.
It certainly is suspicious.
Well, it could just be kind of symbolic in a way, you know? Okay, that's it.
This forklift is old. It does not appear to be functional. It has not been moved in some time.
Iris and Ota were sliced in two by this ice-cutting machine. Iris and Ota.
Iris's estimated time of death and cause of death have been confirmed. The video was not a recording. It was a live stream, filmed in real time.
Okay, then I guess it couldn't have been Ota in that case. If we're sure that that's the case, which I'll believe, then it can't be Ota because he couldn't have changed costumes that quickly, surely.
Which means Iris's time of death is 3:20 a.m.
Because he would have had to have been real quick to change in and out of that costume. Well, out, you know, because the second one had a bit of a gap in it, but the bear walking off and Ota walking in, he couldn't have possibly done it in that time.
Iris also had her left eye removed.
Yeah.
And like Renju and Shoko, Iris's left eyeball has not been recovered.
Nice cutting machine, workbench.
Right here. Iris and Ota were.
I am sure you are already aware of Ota's time of death.
Just before I arrived. About 3:30 in the morning.
And the cause of death.
Right. About that. Ota had a stab wound from a kitchen knife in his side.
Correct.
What was the exact cause of death? Was it the knife wound or...
I cannot determine that. I can conclude that the knife wound was at least close to being fatal. Even if Ota was still alive on the workbench, he was certainly on the verge of death. If he weren't already extremely weak, we would expect to see more signs of struggle.
Maybe Ota was trying to help Iris jumping at the criminal. That led to a scuffle and Ota ended up with a knife wound in the side. Lost all his power to fight back. I am curious about the knife back at the diner, because it was like really showed us the knife, right? And it's saying kitchen knife wound now. He was forcibly put inside the costume, then finally cut open by the ice cutting machine.
But why?
Yeah, why did they put him in the suit?
Why did the culprit put the costume on Ota?
Unknown.
Maybe just to make it look like Ota was responsible?
Date, we should get moving. Officers from the local jurisdiction are checking the warehouse thoroughly. We will not find anything of importance here.
Yeah, you're right.
You can ask CSI to inform you if they find anything.
All right.
Should I do that here? Any progress?
I checked this place point by point, but didn't find nothing.
Let me know if you find anything. I let them know, then left the warehouse. And I want to go to the diner now, so I can see if that knife's there. Never mind. When I left the warehouse, I saw Pewter. What is he doing here? He walked up to me while I was trying to work it out.
Date, I have to talk to you about something.
Huh?
Is it about the mangas you have?
About the original Cyclops serial killings.
Go on.
Why this all of a sudden?
Because I want you to solve this case, Mr. Date. I want you to find who did this and bring them to justice.
Okay, I'm starting to like you more.
So, if I can help you, even a little.
Why didn't you say anything in Abyss?
Because we were in front of Boss.
The boss was there. I couldn't speak openly in front of her.
Okay, my man Pewter, holding it
So I
down.
decided to meet you here.
My man Pewter, holding it down.
All right. Let's hear it.
Earlier, I told you that I was completely certain the original Cyclops killer couldn't have committed these crimes.
I remember this.
I am absolutely certain the original...
Yes,
Let me explain why. I'll start by telling you the identity of the Cyclops killer. Although, it's more accurate to say, killers.
More than one?
In the first series of killings, the culprit had an accomplice. One of them was born a murderous psychopath. The other is Rohan Kumakura, the previous chairman of the Kumakuras. They each had a role to play. The murderer committed the homicide, and Rohan removed the eyeball.
Okay. So you're saying Rohan didn't do the killing? He just removed the eyes?
I don't know.
The details of the original Cyclops serial killings case have become nebulous over time. Even the official investigation material contains nothing of value. I am unable to draw any conclusions from them.
How do
you really
you
have no idea?
How do you know this
If
though?
I did, I would tell you. He was born with a brain dysfunction. Due to damage to the posterior pituitary gland, he was unable to properly secrete oxytocin.
That sure sounds important.
Oxytocin is a peptide hormone linked to feelings of love, affection, and trust. It is colloquially referred to as the love hormone. It causes a tranquilizing effect which improves mood and relieves stress. It is normally secreted when the body makes contact with an object of affection, such as an embrace or caress.
I'm sure you know.
Horny
this
chemical,
applies,
gotcha.
but he was unable to feel love in the way that we do. However, he was able to experience a substitute. His brain was wired in such a way that allowed him to feel satisfaction through other means. Due to the unique idiosyncrasies of his brain, he was able to release large amounts of dopamine and endorphins by performing a certain action.
What was it?
Murder.
Dopamine is a hormone linked
Yeah,
to the
okay,
nervous
yeah.
system.
We know what
Has a feeling
dopamine is.
of
Yeah, we know
endorphins.
that.
They dull pain and create a feeling of
We know what those are.
Pleasure from killing people?
Like, Date, I've got bad news, dude. Most serial killers do. Most of them do. In fact, almost all of them. I know. That's pretty surprising, isn't it? Most serial killers are kind of fucked up. And they enjoy doing it.
It's slightly more complicated than that. Killing people was the only way he could get pleasure. He was 12 when he took his first life. That enlightened him to the pleasure of murder, which he would do again and again. 18 years ago, Rohan took a woman's eye. She was already dead. He put his finger into her eye socket and gouged it out. The reason why was simple. He was fascinated by women's eyes. Their beauty stimulated his greed and his desire to possess them.
How do you know this?
He needed to have them, to make them his own. Driven by this instinctive impulse, he took the woman's eye. From then on, he acquired a grotesque obsession with the eyes of dead women.
How do you know this, though?
He was very particular about his need that the eye belonged to a deceased woman. But even being the head of a Yakuza gang, there weren't too many opportunities for him to indulge. His deepest, darkest desire went unfulfilled for years. However, he soon met his ideal partner, the aforementioned psychopath. The Cyclops killer would commit the murder, and Rohan would take the eye. Thus, a mutually beneficial relationship was established. This was the origin of the Cyclops serial killings.
How do you know this, and who's the other guy, though?
At about the same time, you were assigned to Abyss.
The original Cyclops killer had an accomplice,
There were two Cyclops killers.
and one of them was the former chairman of the Kumakuras, Rohan Kumakura.
Rohan committed suicide by jumping to his death 1 year ago.
That means... Pewter, tell me this. One of the original killers is dead, I know that. But that means one remains. Who is he?
After his fourth murder, he was arrested by the police. They actually picked him up on other charges. But in
Usually
any
the case, actually.
he is currently serving a life sentence in Fuchu prison.
Usually they get caught by, like, a driving offense, and they just happen to get caught.
Fuchu prison?
Yes.
What's his name?
In prison, he doesn't have a name. He is simply called Number 89.
Oh. We know that person.
Number 89.
I know who killed Shogun Adami.
So, now you know why I said that. That the original Cyclops killer couldn't have committed these crimes. Because one is dead, and the other is behind bars. Neither of them had the opportunity.
Peter looked grimly serious. Alright, we can leave now. Come on, you're not gonna let me go to the prison right now? Fine, let's go to the diner. I want to go to Hot to 89. The place was silent. It was so quiet I felt like I could hear floating dust. I stepped inside. I thought it was empty, but I saw a shadow in the corner of my eye. It was Mayumi. It was like watching a decaying old tree cling pathetically to the earth. Where's your knife? I don't see a knife. Do you want to talk about it? I'm sorry. So...
This is your fault. I heard from the police.
Come again?
Because you didn't take care of Iris. My boy Ota got involved.
Date, I looked into the investigation report. Mayumi confirmed Ota's body early this morning.
Why did we need her to do that?
I see.
I'm sorry. I want to be alone right now.
That's entirely fair.
Did you not hear me? I said leave!
That's an entirely fair reaction.
Date, let's go.
I agree.
She is in no state to talk.
Yeah, you're right.
Can I see your knife? Okay, I'll go. Well, that was fun. That was fun.
Are you okay, honey?
Huh?
Could be better.
About last night.
Ugh.
Well, at 3 in the morning, anyway.
You know about it?
It's on every channel. You have the face of a ghost. Do you want a glass?
I don't need a drink. I need information. Do you have anything?
Well, let's see. I do have... I suppose you could call it intuition.
Tell me.
The Kumakuras are involved in this case. Remember what I told you before?
What's going on back there? Oh, it looks fine. Is it fine? I hear a lot of squeaking.
That there's a relationship between Ren and the Kumakuras? Shoko also has a relationship with them. You know about her dealings with the Kumakuras, right?
So basically, 2 of the victims are linked to the Kumakuras. That must mean they're involved somehow, right?
Not 2, 3.
3? Iris?
No, not that one. The boy.
Oh.
He came here last night?
Ota?
Yes, from Matsushita Diner. He's linked to the Kumakuras as well. Have you heard the rumor?
Mama told me a similar story to Aiba's, about So Sejima in the Kabasaki district. The basic idea is this: 8 years ago, So sold his land in the Kabasaki district for 30 billion yen. Half a year later, an explosion. Yeah, we know that. Bought it back. Almost like he knew beforehand the incident would happen. So did he blow it up or conspire to blow it up? No, that wouldn't make sense. We've already covered this. He wouldn't gain from that. He would end up with 29 billion in cash and 1 billion in land. It's a net zero. But there's more to the story.
The Kumakuras own a handful of real estate companies. They of course look legit, but they're Yakuza fronts. I'll call those real estate companies the KE to keep it simple for you. The KE followed in So's footsteps. They bought up land in Kabasaki. Now, back to So. Have you heard of the plans for the casino in Kabasaki? So was the one who came up with it.
I was born and raised in Kabasaki. I remember the landscape of my childhood, and I loved it dearly. But look at Kabasaki now. When I see images of the destruction on television, my heart aches like it's being chopped to pieces. But I promise you, I will revive the Kabasaki district at any cost. Casino Town Kabasaki will give new life to the city.
Damn, the whole town.
After that, So moved fast. He submitted the bills he needed to the National Assembly after drumming up support in the right places. The bills passed, and it became an official government initiative.
An official government casino, eh?
Decontamination efforts therefore increased at a rapid pace in the Kabasaki district. At the moment, the area is still considered off-limits. However, the air in Kabasaki is currently purified to such an extent that it has no negative effect on the human body.
If the plan goes smoothly, land prices in Kabasaki are going to skyrocket. And all that land is owned by the KE.
Oh god. Oh, Jesus. Kitten. Oh god, what's going on? Ugh. Stand up, how depressing. Alright, crisis resolved. Ugh.
And by So himself.
Oh guys, crisis unresolved. Oh god. Alright.
The land he bought back for $1 billion will be worth 10 times that soon.
He's involved in some shady business.
I still don't get the point of the original sale, though.
This is just another rumor, but the chemical plant exploding was no accident. It was done intentionally.
By So and the Kumakuras, you mean?
But there's no hard evidence of that.
Naturally.
It's just gossip. What were we talking about again?
Ota and the Kumakuras.
Oh, right. You know how Matsushita Diner is close to the Kabasaki district? The chemical plant explosion made times hard. Foot traffic went down, sales declined. No wonder it closed down. Ota must hold a grudge.
Oh, it's closed?
Someone caused that explosion. And if it was intentional, oh, he'd hate them even more. That's how I link Ota to the Kumakuras.
This is kind of tenuous.
Thank you, Mama.
I'm not sure about this.
I don't know if what you told me will lead to anything, but...
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to waste your time.
No, it was very helpful.
I'm glad I can help, even if it's just a little.
Well then, be seeing you.
Come back anytime.
Well, I don't think that's much of a link, but yeah, whatever.